Down and around.
Greetings.
Thank
you for resisting.
How many weeks do you want to go back?
No, just this week.
Busy and without complication.
Nice.
It's been a while since I've been able to say that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
For me, lackadaisical. Lackadaisical? Yeah.
So
Yeah.
simple and without complications.
Yeah. There you go. I mean, the game I've been trying to get into with some people online, and it keeps bugging out, disconnecting me, and I'm butthurt. I wonder if it's because of the geopolitics going on, because it is Chinese developers. So I don't know. We're not going to get into that. It's been a great week. No.
That's okay
So where are we starting at?
though. Yeah, I picked out a question today that I think is going to be really good. Can you recall a time when you felt isolated?
Pretty sure we had that.
Yeah, let's see. I think it was earlier.
Over years.
Sure, yeah.
You want to go day
I
by
imagine
day?
Hours of the day.
Yeah.
I imagine pick out the most intense time that you truly felt alone. How you got out of that?
I got sick post-vaccination. Sick for death for some days.
Really?
Which
that
vaccine was
felt
it?
pretty normal.
What vaccine was it?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's just name.
You were sitting there praying.
That bad of whatever it was.
Wow.
That sucks.
Wow.
Or didn't want to.
Had someone around me since I was born, so it's like I was thinking of when I really felt kind of separate, from Alex. Time I felt most alone. There was a time in our lives where Alex kind of fell into Catholicism. He was certain everyone was going to hell, and he was going to find God. He was saving himself regardless of everyone else. Alex couldn't take on that dread every day for him. But it was really this moment I want to be alone. I wanted to be always something that wasn't healthy. There was a time in spiritual exploration because I was exploring this so much because he was very much putting it in my world, so I needed to go figure it out myself as well. These questions were very valid that he was asking. There was this time for a long time where I felt really just alone in my own world. I started meditating. All these experiences I couldn't talk about, and I was like, okay, well, I just stuck through that loneliness. I was like, that's just where I want to be right now. Actually, really, when I met Ken, is actually how I got out of this. Ken was the first. He wasn't brave enough to ask, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'm not alone in what I'm doing right now.
Or he just saw somebody who was just as lonely as him.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe we were lonely together, so I guess that makes us not lonely anymore.
That's kind of what happened, right?
It's kind of
we fall in love, figuring out that we were
yeah,
lonely.
we really did. That's kind of exactly what happened. But really, how I got out of that was really just being in action, ask for help, ask.
I love that loneliness is
I just never quite vibed all the way. I didn't have that full trust with them, so it wasn't like an actual deep community. It was like I was going to a yoga studio for the gym that's healthy for me or whatever.
Yeah.
Things like
families, neighborhoods, communes, beach networks, mountain networks, all kinds of different climates and ecologies where people kind of settle in and network just by nature of that's where they live, that's the people who they have.
Assume that the only people you could really be in full honest communication with was your family members. That was kind of the tribe that I was in. And that kind of broke me out. And nowadays, I see all these communities.
A bit more opposite, like my family was not the place to take anything. Or anything, probation officers. And then that kind of lingers into all the other things. So from there I went
sorry, that's my feelings coming out. So for me, it was the total opposite. I felt the loneliest like probably from 13 to 16. Like you don't talk besides the family. That just drove me mad because I wanted to branch out, and I was so like feeling so alone because I think it was a lot of different reasons. I think I wanted to branch out at a younger age, and that just wasn't what we did. Like as people, it just kind of over time, I figured we were kind of brought up to.
Huge. Thanks for sharing that, Alex.
A cat was taking me for a walk.
Of loneliness at some level. So whether we're aware of that little piece of it or not, our loneliness is being cured every single present moment that we're leaning into trying to figure out what the unique one before me has in store for me. Boy, I love this COZSNUG so much because it's just so effortless to just put yourself in a receptive state instead of being resistant and say, hey, what's your real experience? To see the beauty in everybody. So thanks for being so beautiful, you guys. Curing my loneliness with me. What's that?
So persistence and diligence. I can definitely be thankful for how the last 6 months.
We started talking about core values, and the core value of persistence came up. And Jason was like, oh yeah, that has to be one of them. And the more I thought through it, I was like, wow, look at this skill that this guy has for persistence.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you know what?
For 8 hours at least without.
He doesn't
Train himself to do this.
As a cardio, if that's what.
I
See
know.
if that's how he's going to proceed with his
Yeah,
day.
I've really been trying to help him get on more healthy routines in that regard, but he's such a
Do that and muscle through my feelings, which is like what Dad still does in a way, but that's neither here nor there. But you realize that I couldn't be Dad or Mom, and at that point it was really scary because it was like, well, who else is there? Who else is there that really mattered?
The sense of loneliness was at a height.
Yeah.
yeah.
Tons.
I isolated myself from everybody. That was probably the loneliest time.
For a
Because
long-
I seem to be,
That's
and
how it goes.
really, I don't really get too lonely that much anymore. I mean, a sense of loneliness every now and then, but not really. I spend a lot of time alone.
And now you know exactly. That's what that is. It's just an admission of the fact that, yeah, I guess I love myself. Don't you kind of have to have that as a prerequisite to go and
Step down the road.
just a little love emerging?
I've been bottling it up for a while now.
Love some strength and some beauty.
So I guess for me, excuse me, one of the
Everything is role playing.
So she says it, and then what?
and that kind of made me like, it hurt my feelings and everything because I guess I thought that I'd made it quite trying to do with my life.
my real heart.
Has kind of been me. So that was pretty lonely for a while, actually.
Good. I know somebody who's
Been missing for years because I've been a hermit at my house. It helped me kind of get out of my loneliness and talking about my beliefs and stances and those kinds of things with everybody has kind of helped me get over that loneliness that I had with the self-determination. And that's kind of essentially, I guess, what I've been needing in my life. So that's helped.
Determined. If you weren't determined, we wouldn't be here right now. If you guys weren't determined to, we wouldn't all be having this night. Now, illuminate the concept of, hey, we can all just keep on emerging, because how many more? And now I see your art on multiple levels.
Thank you.
Look at your bandwidth. me on the music side. You and I know exactly what we're talking about. I just had one of the coolest experiences of my entire life. It was the coolest up to that moment, and you happened to be right there watching all of it. And because you were producing music, and I was in the middle of honoring.
About what killed it, what that rabbit hole that you fell into, and the mindset that you brought to it. I was like, oh man, this is.
Used to be a Southern citizen.
When we were reading Brandon Jacobs and all this stuff and everything else, and you first cut that first marijuana case, and I was just like, I started showing you law stuff, and I was like, and he started bringing back stuff that I kind of heard a lot of, you know, from different people, different ways, but never dug into it, and I didn't have to. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is anyone sitting here? Over there?
Carl, go ahead and sit right there.
He says his main intent is to try to fast track the knowledge to everybody, because he has the years and years of experience. Might as well just
Story about which
Come and do it.
of more discriminatory than what is delivered to which people
Welcome.
are capable of working with the organization to benefit the most from.
yeah. Well, social media, specifically Facebook, taught me that a lot of people talk about wanting freedom and the idea of freedom, but when you present an actual way for them to acquire it, they don't want that. And since those people are trying to get you out of the system, don't government shills keep you in the system? Like, what are you guys thinking about? So,
I recently ran into somebody who had a right line of
depends on how far they are into it, as if they can be saved or not, man. Like, well, anything financial, actual, be a financial institution. You can't be like somebody who gets a template bond and then sends it off to like the government or something, and it's like, oh well, whatever their approach is. Like, I've never seen it work.
well, I mean, I need to get back and get imaging on it, but I mean, the number document thing. You
Like people, person we knew, his name was Darren Michaels, and allegedly he had a signature from Nancy Pelosi and her seal and everything. And sure enough, it wasn't. He copied and pasted a bunch of stuff, which, you know, there's laws against that in California and stuff. So it's like, oh man, this guy's setting himself up for some big trouble. And like water, but you can't make it drink. Alternative minded
it's kind of
things.
the westernized version of itself as a teacher, a leader, or source of information that
I agree with that. That's what I've done with my self-determination stuff. And like Ken talking about self-determination, like personally, when I refer to self-determination, I'm talking about like internationally, that being ex-sovereign perspective on how things are supposed to work in the system. And I broke free from that, learned how it really works, and I started studying the law of nations that I've brought up a lot of times, and I was like, oh, well, originally. So what it's become now, I still work on it here and there because it's what I'm doing with my life, but that kind of stuff's hard to do with one person. But no, I'm getting off on a tangent. Essentially, that's an alchemical process, same thing. I feel that it's the creator, whatever you want to call it, has said here. Like, years ago, I asked the universe, give me answers. I'm tired of the lies. I don't want to be lied to anymore. Mm. That's when I broke free from my sovereign citizen stuff and found all this and going with it. So I don't know exactly how that all pertains to.
So you asked for answers, you were given answers, and it bolstered your faith to be able to ride that wave into the direction that you were given.
Yeah, and then I guess being the only one that's doing it now is where it's provided that loneliness to bring it all back, and hanging out here has kind of extinguished that loneliness. Well, it has. I'm not lonely anymore in that regard, because I know there's good people that don't have to agree with what I'm doing, but can get behind and stand by me on what I'm trying to do.
Information lands in the right lab at the right time.
It's very true.
It's gonna get wildly different, wildly fast.
It's very true. Very true.
Great to have you two.
Yeah.
The feeling of loneliness was at its peak. What helped you overcome that?
Oh,
Pretty tough question.
I have I'm really confused because these are Pixar socks. What is that? What is that?
I think it's inside.
Okay. Okay, this is a pretty. So it was my dad's birthday, and I didn't. Why was I feeling sad? It was my dad's option to the family that I knew. But me and my dad still talk. Like, he came and fixed my lock today. Like, he's my real dad. Sorry, that's weird. That's what Luna and Eliza, but he abused Luna, and then he disappeared. But sometimes he'll try to come back into their life, say like, oh, hey, and Luna's like, who the fuck is this? And Luna, and Trevor, he's her partner now, Eliza and Trevor, and their band is called Payout Beast. It's super fucking good. 2 words, Payout Beast. Mm-hmm. And Luna, one time, so Trevor wasn't the person that raised her. And anyway, so me and my mother didn't specifically say anything, but I think. Yeah, I did. And then, or at least sent him a message. And then I went to eat lunch, but I knew also I was going to order vodka. And so I drank some vodka. And when that day, like, I felt sad. I was being very comedic. I was pretending like I was having a party in my brain. Never see you again. And I left, and I went to the strip club by myself. And nobody was there. I was the only customer. And I was like, oh my god, like, I have my credit card today. I can buy drinks. I can tip the water. Like, they were kind and loving. And front door, there's also something sharp, and I don't want to get into what it was, but it was something sharp. And I charged my phone, and before that I was cutting myself. That's all I'll say into that. And then, getting closer to thinking about, like, so I'm looking up at the sky, like, sorry, that I'm going through. I didn't think I was capable. And I asked God, I was like, is this the time? I'm tired. And I don't feel like I want to ask for help, causing so much chaos everywhere and harming myself and others. And Sir McFerrin, I'll say it out loud, calls me minutes. He brings 5 of his men, Ogden PD. I don't even know if they looked up my ID or who it was. I have no idea. They might have been traced, probably traced. Seek support. It's highly likely they knew who they were. And no, I'm just usually defending myself. 5 of them come. Okay, we're almost done. Sorry. I want to be done with it.
We got you here.
Can I just hold your hand? So.
I held Kelly's hand for like an hour one night.
This is from Wolf of Wall Street. So then, this is where I get so angry. Stood up, I kind of had to submit. I was still verbally like, you guys beat me up so many times, what are you gonna do? Then they put me in a stretcher. So when, I'll explain this to you, which is helpful for the whole world. Yeah, so they put you in a stretcher. It's more this shape.
Do you want something to draw with? I mean, do you want to?
I'll just use my hands, I guess. So I put my hands in the back. So I have a prison sentence if I don't obey the laws. But God keeps saving my fucking, like, scanning, you know, like, no. When they get angrier and seat melt me in, you can still free your mind. And I knew I could, but I didn't feel capable of doing that day. Anyways, then this is when I purposely stopped me from breathing. And I probably had a concussion at that moment, and I purposely stopped breathing. And this is where it's probably, maybe closer to like 5 minutes. And the cops don't notice for a while. I'm like where the emergency is, because I know I can catch my breath if I need, you know. And they don't notice. They check, and then they come through the hospital, and I'm in the parking garage, and they're checking my vitals, or not even, like, I don't know honestly. I don't remember all of it. And the doctor out here, you know, I'm like, wow, this is how it works. And I mean, I've heard a lot of stories. I don't know. They said it was an antidepressant, but I'm gonna make your choices today. And I'm like, thank you. Only laughing because it's ridiculous that they might possibly charge me with this. I know I harmed someone, and I feel bad about that now. But I mean, God is with me. Like, my case hasn't even been looked at, and my social security card is in the fucking evidence of those charges. And if God thought I was going to, that would be okay, but, like, I just felt I needed to go on this journey. And now they know who I am, and I have fucking attorneys. Sorry. So, yeah. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for everything you bring to us. Thank you for your art.
Thank you. I know I've been a lot lately.
Thank you for your patience with the whole process with all of us.
You're welcome.
I'm not really sure I'm to the overcoming.
Right, it's commiserate and help build upon and connect with, yes.
Relate to. Person. Yeah.
What's her name again?
Just a
Yeah, good point. Piece of paper, what kind of meaning do I want to place on it? Perfect age.
Sometimes, you know, those things are still.
We're all in this together.
Yes, dude, keeps disconnected.
It's okay. Oh,
I did not mean it that way. Did
that was
everyone-
really well
Yeah,
said,
has everyone
Tony.
felt like they've gotten to share?
Like, we could all go on.
Can I say a couple more things?
Please.
This color you were drawn to most.
Okay, that's cool.
Just right away. Don't overthink.
So,
Think of God, connection, love, empathy, flow.
Mine's right here. Ray of all the colors just sparkling, dancing with each other.
Nice.
Opposite one.
The what?
The gold.
The gold rainbow. What is it?
We're a little bit.
Yeah. Silver. Rainbow.
Yeah, same.
Rainbow?
Now that I think about it, I could have predicted
I
that.
like this big white stripe.
Yes.
Like this one is.
To answer your gold rainbow, right? Gold sparkly one?
Chelsea.
Yeah.
And some bright red and white around it, flowery. But I really like this gold here. 'Cause it kind of reminds me of copper too, but more like Anyways.
That's
That was
nice,
fun,
Carly.
thank you.
Look at
Yeah.
the flair that these girls bring to this. I mean, a dude would never pull out something that magical and pass it around and have that much magic.
Yeah, right. You did the other blue and pink. Or green.
Thank you, Carly, for sharing that. That was actually so fun.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everybody. That was just amazing. Wow.
There, I think. Yeah, it's a great high note to end on. Thank you so much, everybody, for sharing your stories.
I found the important feature interpretation of the thing that happened tonight.
Thank
So.